The Toronto Transit Commission subway network has seen a variety of rolling stock over the years. However, one service that is mostly exclusive to the TTC is the garbage trains. Often running during the night hours, these railcars would stop at stations along the subway network to collect garbage bags for disposal. Most of the rolling stock that was assigned to these jobs were refitted subway cars that were retired from regular service. Of these, one of them would be built straight from a manufacturer and is the most exclusive car on the subway roster. Picture this. It's 1967, the TTC had recently opened the Bloor-Danforth line, and the garbage car that they're currently using is a modified streetcar, which was built all the way back in 1921. The TTC needed a new car specifically designed to handle the trash cleanup, so they decided to turn to a Japanese builder in the form of Nippon Shiro. I think that's how you pronounce it. For an order of 4 new work cars. These include a flat trailer, a battery electric locomotive, a crane car, and a new garbage car. Enter the Tokyo Rose. Also designated as an RT-10, was built in 1967 alongside the new equipment. The car bore similarities to the rather new Hawker Siddeley cars that were recently arriving on the TTC. Being in a bare aluminum exterior, a similar designed front cab, and a central door to walk between cars, in theory, it could be coupled to existing train sets, although there are no reports of that happening. Other distinguishing features included a shorter length, larger spotlights to illuminate inside the subway tunnels, wider doors, and circular windows. And instead of being a whole set or a pair, the Tokyo Rose was a solo car. And what about the name? Well, the name Tokyo Rose would be sourced from the Japanese propaganda broadcasters, which was Tokyo Rose, which originated from the Second World War. But why they chose to name a garbage collecting subway car after a Japanese propaganda group is beyond me. It was one of the few pieces of TTC equipment to be affectionately nicknamed. And keep in mind, this was a work car, which is something I do not see happening for maintenance equipment. The only other nicknames I could remember from TT stock included the Red Rockets and Toronto Rockets. With the Tokyo Rose in service, the Peter Witt would finally be retired from garbage duties, and the Rose would be put to work handling the garbage train on both lines 1 and 2. It would only be seen running during the late night hours, meaning anyone that was at one of the stations at midnight would likely encounter this. Its appearance at night is rather ominous, as the solo subway car stopping at a station in the middle of the night would confuse a lot of passengers, and give it a rather uncanny vibe. There's one story about a child accidentally getting on board the Tokyo Rose at night, and being surprised at how it looked like an ordinary subway car. Due to its late night presence, its ominous appearance at station, and an appearance similar to existing subway cars, it gave the Tokyo Rose a bit of a unusual presence. But at least it got its job done, collecting garbage at the subway stations. Following the retirement of the aging Gloucestershire cars, a pair were set aside to handle the garbage trains, resulting in the Rose being relocated to Line 1, as 2 separate trains could cut the time required to collect bags at stations and provide less hassle for one set. The Rose would be moved to the Davisville yard for work on Line 1, and would eventually be put into storage and then later retired in the new millennium. And in 2002, Tokyo Rose would be moved off TTC property and sold for scrap. As for the garbage trains, they didn't last long as the service was discontinued on December 8, 2000, as one of the garbage cars caught fire at Old Mill Station, and as a result, the TTC chose instead to have garbage being collected by staff and outside contractors, which is a practice they still use to this day. Despite in later years the TTC outsourcing its garbage collection, there are no plans to return the garbage trains, putting an end to a unique operation on the subway network of the Toronto Transit Commission. As for Tokyo Rose, while it was reduced down to memories,
You can't deny that seeing pictures of this thing at like stations in the middle of the night is rather uncanny to say the least. And given its odd job and the fact it ran during the night hours and very few people rode the subway, who knows? Maybe you probably could have encountered this thing back in the 80s. And for all we know, its spirit is possibly roaming the rails in the middle of the night, still collecting non-existent garbage at the subway stations along the Toronto Transit Commission.